Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the November 9th Board of Selectmen meeting, again, both virtual and in person. And as always, we will start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular Board of Selectmen meeting for October 28th, 2021?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Jill Oberlander, second. Oh, wait, this is the one, which one are we doing? The September,
This is the 28th.
The regular.
I have, are we doing September 9th? Or we're doing October 28th?
No, we're not doing September 9th.
Okay.
That's next week.
So I'll second it, but I do have an amendment to the minutes on, sorry, trying to
Take
get
your
my
time.
computer signed up. Paragraph 5A of old business regarding the establishment of the Citizens Police Advisory Committee. I'd like to change the second paragraph, last clause, to read, so the whole paragraph would read, there was discussion on what the proposal would accomplish, semicolon, the number of complaints the police department receives, semicolon, whether funding is needed for the committee, semicolon, colon, and then to change that last clause to read, and how the concerns raised by the YWCA Greenwich are being addressed, period. And then in the next paragraph, Ms. Oberlander made a motion to amend the proposal, so deleting the word approve, to delete the third bullet. And I can pass this down so you can see it in writing, but it just clarifies the action.
To amend, yeah, take and approve out and put an amending. Do you want to take a look at it, Lauren? Thank you.
That works.
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
So you're motioning to amend, and I second your amendment.
Thank you. So I think then we just need to approve it as amended, right?
All those in favor of approving as amended? Fred Camillo's yes.
Jill Oberlander, yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then is there a motion to accept the minutes for the Board of Selectmen special meeting of October 28th, 2021?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Jill Oberlander, second.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's yes.
Jill Oberlander, yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Okay, thank you. Going on to updates, the first Selectmen's update. Thanks to all the workers who got us through this past election. The town clerk's office, the registrar of voters, both Democrat and Republican components of that office, the poll workers, and most of all the voters for getting out there and casting their votes and making their voices heard. It's something we look forward to every year, and our town certainly ranks up there each year as one of the best in the state. So thank you to all who ran and put their names out there. I did meet with our new incoming member, Janet Stone McGuigan, just to plan, get her thoughts on some things and go over what we've done in the past and see how we can, maybe do things a little bit differently here and there. And before the pandemic hit, we were meeting at night, once a month. And so we also talked about doing a little bit of a road show every now and then. And as I speak to Sunday to the Northeast Greenwich Association, and last night the Byram Neighborhood Association and the Millbrook Association, each group was really receptive to the idea of the Board of Selectmen having a meeting on one of the nights that they have their meeting. So we can go first and then hang around for their meeting. And certainly anything that they want to address can be done so there in their home district. So I think we can get back on schedule with that in the coming months. Veterans Day events, we had the VFW COSCOB event ceremony on Saturday. Went really well. thanks to Mr. Cameron, Tony Marzullo, and Dr. Rico, and all the rest that put that ceremony on. It was always very, very nice and well attended. This Thursday, we have the walk down Greenwich Avenue, starting at 10:30. The road has been closed off, and then there'll be a ceremony in front of the monument, in front of the Board of Education building. And then that night at 7 o'clock, we'll be at the Byram Vets for a walk and a ceremony there down Veteran Way. And there's some school, Riverside schools doing theirs today at 1 o'clock. There is a ribbon cutting next Sunday, the 14th, for the Byram neighborhood, Byram Fire Station. We're looking forward to that. It's really well done. And I know that the neighborhood's very excited about that. And tonight is the Kiss the Ground Greenwich Food Waste kickoff and initiative at the GHS Performing Arts Center, which their main goal really is to reduce and try to divert food waste, which accounts for about 22% of our solid waste here in Greenwich. So hats off to them, and we wish them luck and look forward to working with them. That stemmed from an initiative of the for Selectmen's Municipal Solid Waste Committee. So with that, I'll turn to Lauren Rabin for the Selectwomen's updates.
Thank you, Fred. I just have a question. Is there also an event Thursday, 10 a.m. at the Memorial Grove?
No, thank you for clarifying that. I should have clarified it. That was, unfortunately, that was miscommunication. There is none there. It's Byram at 7 o'clock and not at 10.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just trying to get my calendar straight. And I echo your gratitude for everyone that worked on Election Day and all the people who voted. I also want to thank our opponents, Fred's opponent. It takes a lot to put yourself out there and run a campaign. So I wanted to thank Bill Kelly, and I welcome Janet Stone McGuigan as our third member. We're excited to see what we could accomplish in the next 2 years as we evolve past some of the pandemic and other issues that plagued our first 2 years. And certainly, thank Jill for your friendship, guidance, and participation on the board. It's been a really, pleasurable 2 years, for me personally. Some of the things that I am working on as liaison to the Selectmen's Nomination Advisory Committee, we're starting to put together lists of names for people for the Affordable Housing Trust. So we're getting some applications there, and we're also getting some applications for the Citizens Police Advisory Committee. So I think one of the things that we'll have to decide, maybe working with Ben and Chief Heavey, is how that board should be structured for staggered terms, et cetera. How, when will we have terms and how will we stagger terms, et cetera. So we'll have to work on that. And that's my update for today.
Thank you, Lauren. And now with the select person's updates and her penultimate meeting.
Yes, penultimate. So thank you, Fred. Thank you, Lauren. Lauren, thank you for those kind words. And congratulations to my sitting colleagues who are continuing, and to Janet Stone McGuigan, who will be joining. And I look forward to seeing all that you accomplish for our community in the next 2 years as well. And I'll save my remarks for the last meeting, but I just on a couple of updates on sustainability. In addition to the Kiss the Ground, there was a meeting at the Food Shed Network on Friday, and an introductory meeting talking about how we can improve our footprint with food-related resources, very, very well attended. If you come into Town Hall, you'll see both of the display galleries are focused on some of the issues that sustainability is dealing with. One in particular I'd like to highlight during Infrastructure Week is dealing with electric vehicles, electric lawnmowers, electric blowers, and a shout out to our DPW for helping us move to the next phase of electric as opposed to gas fueled. I was out this morning and someone blew lots of leaf debris right in my face as I was heading by. So check out those displays and think about how we can improve our footprint. make Greenwich EV ready. So I know Janet is looking forward to tackling a lot of this as well. One other thing I wanted to share was some of you are fortunate enough, I'll say, to receive my morning musings, which are often triggered by the podcast that I'm listening to as of the morning. This morning, I was listening to Ezra Klein, but actually a substitute who had an author on talking about revision, and it just reminded me some of his words about the ability to think critically. We heard a lot. Oh, I wanted to thank the candidates and the poll workers as well, but we heard a lot in this last election about critical thinking, actually, and how it's being taught in our schools and otherwise, and I encourage everyone to take a listen. It is really interesting to think critically about how we approach things and how other people's voices see things as well. So more on that to come. Thank you, Fred. Back to the meeting.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. And we'll go on to old business. We have one item, which is the MI request for the GHS entry upgrade. And we have the building committee chair, Steve Walco, and Tim Nanzer here again of Silver and Petrocelli Associates. I guess we'll go to Zoom right now, and hopefully Steve and Tim can join us.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I guess we're just waiting for Steve Walco.
Morning.
Yes, not our. That's not our problem. Yeah, so we've got a couple of course, I didn't get an updated RFI log from Wingnut, but there's a couple of outstanding RFIs.
You might want to mute. I think we could hear your background. Well, good morning, everyone. I know we're waiting for Steve. I'm not sure if he is on or elevated as a panelist. If not, we're happy to get started and answer any questions.
Okay, yeah, well, apparently Steve was on and is having technical difficulties, so we'll get started, and he could, there he is.
Here.
Okay.
There he is. Excellent.
Morning, Steve.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. In the technological atmosphere up here.
Third time's a charm.
Let me jump right in, if I may.
Sure.
So since our last meeting, we've continued to work on the project. We've met with, and I'm going to get the name of this group wrong, the Energy Efficiency Committee of the Town of Greenwich. Select person Oberlander was kind enough to send us their information. I met with them virtually, and then I asked the architects to meet with them as well. We continue to look at the site. We continue to look at all of our HVAC options and our lighting options. And tomorrow we have a meeting to go over all of those options. What flowed from the meetings that we've had since our last meeting before you is really a complex discussion regarding energy efficiency. Not sure that I did I think I could have done a better job of explaining that at our last meeting. We are looking at ways to improve the efficiency and the energy of this one building. However, we have significant limitations. For instance, we talked with the group that I just mentioned about geothermal. Our site is really not big enough for that. We've talked about solar and or photovoltaic. And again, our area is not that great or grand of a project. So we're really looking to minimize or at least be carbon neutral when it comes to heating and or ventilating this space and the glass corridor. So we're going to continue to look at those options tomorrow. I don't know where the discussion's going to lead us. We're looking at using existing chillers. One suggestion just recently was creating our own chiller, a mini chiller. I'm not sure how viable that is for cost. But we will continue to look at that and address those issues together with, as I said before, LED lighting, potential radiant heat, and the like. And then lastly, just wanting to comment again, as the building committee, we're focused on building this building. I know there's been a lot of discussion in other town groups discussing timing and sequencing. We're here to address, I guess, as I've been told, the number one security issue at the high school, which is the front corridor and the front entrance. And that's what we would like municipal improvement to do. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, we had, I think we discussed most of it last time, and I'm glad you reached out to the Energy Committee, and yeah, it looks like you're doing whatever you can there. We know there is severe limitations on what you could do with that building, but certainly anything is a positive. So we appreciate the efforts on that, and know that the outcome will be a good one. So I'm grateful to the committee and to your good efforts there. So I'll turn it over for some questions, and Select Person Oberlander.
Yes, thank you, Steve, and thank you for following up with Emac, Energy Management Advisory Committee, on ways to reduce the footprint. I would just ask, as you move to the next phase of this, that you draft any RFP documents with the opportunities to add an alternate proposal for, I saw some add alternates in the cost budgeting, but maybe for even various energy-related proposals from developers, and that might give us more information and different options going forward as well. So if you could keep that in mind as you move to the RFP process. In addition, in just looking at the cost estimate provided, and one of the comments that I did receive from another one of our interest groups, Petal Greenwich, was that, and it's not really spelled out, sort of the aesthetics post-construction, that you incorporate into the proposals and design work, access for bicycles, bicycle storage, and I saw you have, sort of limited funding available for landscaping and site maintenance, but to consider in that sort of replanting of trees and bicycle access as well, to respond to both the health aspects of riding one's bike and also the transportation improvements, since it's a particularly congested area. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. I'm not sure we have focused on that yet, so that's a good suggestion, and we'll make sure that committee addresses that point.
Thank you. I think there are some bike racks there at the high school already. If you maybe take a look at that, maybe moving them a little bit closer to the new vestibule.
Yeah, and also I'm sure members of Petal Greenwich would be happy to propose different kinds of bike racks or suggestions. I know DPW has looked at that in the past as well, and aesthetically, that might be something that they'd be very happy to weigh in on as well.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Tim. And is there a motion to accept the MI request?
Lauren Rabin, I motion that we approve the municipal improvement request for the Greenwich High School entry upgrade.
Jill Oberlander, I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo's a yes.
Jill Oberlander, yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Okay. Thanks again. Appreciate it. And we look forward to the
Thank
the
you.
outcome. Thank you. Okay, going on to new business, we have Town Attorney Amina Ahmed here for a request for a conflict waiver. Good morning, Amina.
Good morning. That would help.
We hear you.
Good morning, Mr. First Selectman, members of the board. I'm here on a conflict waiver request submitted to us by the law firm of Murtha Kalina. Murtha Kalina currently works with Nathaniel Witherall, or one or two of their attorneys in their health law department, mostly, or I should say exclusively, on regulatory and licensing issues for Nathaniel Witherall, and they've been involved in doing this, at least for 10 years. I spoke with Chairman Larry Simon this morning, and he thought they've had a relationship with Mirtha Kalina for at least a 10-year period. And from time to time, they'd reach out to them for licensing guidance. As you can see from the letter that came in, they have a new partner who does tax appeal work, and it's expected that he will be representing clients who own properties in Greenwich and may wish to appeal their taxes. So the request essentially is for the town to grant a waiver of a potential conflict, that there really shouldn't be an issue here, because on the one hand, you have a health law, a department of the firm which advises Nathaniel Witherall on specific issues, and then you have their tax department and one of their partners who would be representing private homeowners and commercial property owners here in Greenwich with assessment appeals. So that's their request, and as we normally do, we come to you to get a sense for your comfort level here, and because this also involves Nathaniel Witherall, Larry Simon is bringing it to his board next week.
Okay, thank you very much. I have no questions. I think, I don't think there's that much of a conflict, but.
So it seems that this is something that they should be able to screen against, but I just wanted to make sure that the law department was comfortable if we were to grant this waiver as well.
Yes, we really don't see any issues here.
Thank you.
Okay, no other?
No.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your coming here and
Thank you.
requesting it. Is there a motion to approve the request for the conflict waiver?
Lauren Rabin, I motion that we approve the request for the conflict waiver for Mirtha Kalina LLP.
Jill Oberlander, I'll second that motion.
All those in favor? Fred Camillo, say yes.
Jill Oberlander, yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, going on to the second item of new business, use of Parks property for right-of-way purposes at Glenville and Pemberwick roads. And we have DPW Senior Civil Engineer Gabriella Circosta Cohi. Hopefully I got that right, the last part of that. Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Selectman Camillo and members of the board. So I'm here today to request approval for approximately 425 square feet at the corner of Pemberwick Road and Glenville Road for the Cmac project along the Glenville corridor. It is the area which is commonly referred to as the Glenville Green. Currently, the property line along Pemberwick Road within the Glenville Green is set back approximately 15 feet from the curb line. And then along Glenville Road, it's set back approximately 8 to 10 feet. So a lot of the work that we're doing with the proposed sidewalk and curb replacement is within the town right-of-way. Parks maintains this area, Department of Parks and Recreation. What we're doing here is we're shifting the road a bit to the south to allow for a proper alignment of the roadway. And we are improving the turning radius at the southwest corner. Currently, the property line actually goes out into the roadway a few inches. So we are proposing to push back the property line, correct an existing situation, while also pushing it back enough to allow for a 45-foot radius so that vehicles have comfortable movement when turning south from Glenville Road onto Pemberwick Road. We are appreciative to Amina for her guidance on this. We've consulted with her for her review, and we've met with Joe Siciliano from Parks and Parks Manager for their review and approval of this, and their consent, and they're in agreement. So at this point, we're requesting approval for the use of that 425 square feet for town right-of-way use.
Thank you, Gabriella. As we're looking at it, and thank you for working with the neighbors there too. I know there was an issue there with Frankie Ferraro of Vinny's Pizza. Is there any resolution on that also? Because I know that he was very concerned about the 2 spaces in the front there, and I know it conflicts with state law when you're doing something like this. But his point was that when you pull in front of it, it's his business is not a restaurant, typical restaurant. It's a pull in there, get your slices, and leave. And he's afraid that if the parking's too far away, they may not do that. The business may be affected, depending on how hungry they are. I know you had talked about a couple other solutions.
So during this 60% design, there was a proposal to have the 2 parking spaces shifted across the street onto the south side. We've met with several business owners to receive their comment, and then again, we met with him in the field while you were there. We presented those issues to our design consultant, so now we're at the 90% design, and we were able to accommodate not 2, but 3 parking spaces on the north side of the road adjacent to the pizzeria while keeping a continuous sidewalk. So we were able to accommodate that request. And unfortunately, we cannot have the parking spaces directly in the middle of the intersection in front of the pizzeria because it creates an unsafe condition when you have parking in the middle of a signalized intersection. So the parking is just shifted north, but on the north side of the road.
On the same
in front of
side?
the wall, on the same side.
Oh, that's good. Great.
Three parking spaces, not 2.
So how many feet is 20 feet from there?
Yeah, if you could show us on the map where the parking spaces are.
So parking spaces 1, 2, and 3. So we have a crosswalk, decorative crosswalk with a push button, sidewalks on both sides, and a pedestrian ramp. So from the first entrance of the pizzeria to the first parking space is about 20 feet.
Okay. Thank you very much for doing that. I know it was not easy. We walked that several times.
Yes.
So thank you for putting in the extra time there. I know Mr. Ferraro will be grateful. So thank you.
Sure.
And it's definitely safer. Definitely safer.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriella, and thanks I have a couple of questions. Actually, since this is also a different plan than we saw, I don't know, a while ago, actually, with originally, I guess, as you said, we had the parking spots on the south side of Glenville. That was one of the reasons why I think, in addition to the bridge, that we couldn't have an extended shoulder for bike access. But now that the parking spots have been shifted to the other side, I'm going to revisit my request that, especially if we're talking about taking additional parks property for DPW usage, that we go back and take a look and see whether we can push back a little bit with an alignment and make more of a bike shoulder in that location, because we won't have cars pulling in and out, and it may just provide a little bit greater safety. But also, if you could I had difficulty understanding the drawing that was in our package. Can you just explain the red lines, the black lines? Where will the sidewalk be, and how the, will those crosswalks, which I understood was one of the major reasons to do the realignment, was to make it more pedestrian-friendly crossing all those streets. How will that, if you could just show me on the map,
Sure.
What's what?
So with this plan, we have a 2-foot shoulder striped white edge line. We originally had the parking on the south side of the road, which is now shifted to the right. We aren't changing the property line along the roadway edge, just at the corner. If you're familiar with the area, there is a very steep slope that comes down. If we were to push it anymore, we would have to construct a retaining wall, which would be extremely costly. So right now, the red line is this red line is the existing property line. and it is in line with the existing curb line. So you can see it's a very tight turning movement. By pushing the property line back, the property line is still going to be within the proposed sidewalk area, but we are pushing it, making it a smoother corner and allowing for proper turning movement. The proposed sidewalk is going to go from the existing parking lot next to the Glenville Green, that's for the firehouse and the park. We're going to have sidewalk, which currently doesn't exist, along that roadway edge, and continuing along the front of Glenville Road, connecting to the existing sidewalk at the firehouse. We're proposing to have pedestrian ramps at each corner with a decorative crosswalk, proper push button, ADA compliant, across the street on both sides, as well as across the street on Pemberwick Road, maintaining the mid-block crosswalk on Pemberwick Road to the parking lot from the western frontage. We are proposing to have new sidewalk connecting from the existing at the pharmacy all the way down in front of the pizzeria to the steps of the so it will be much more pedestrian friendly and safer with the crossing proper allow children, any pedestrian to cross the street. We will have a signalized intersection. We are opening up the roadway to allow for additional lanes. We will have a right turn lane, a left turn lane to eliminate the queuing that happens, especially while driving their children to school. And then the signal will help track those queues and allow for continuous movement.
Thank you. So the people driving down Pemberwick towards Glenville, where will cars stop for the light?
So the stop bar will be
I see.
going eastbound. The stop bar will be just in front of the crosswalk here, and then the same here. And we are adjusting the driveway, the north driveway at the Greenwich, Western Greenwich Civic Center. So instead of it swooping right into right now it swoops right into the middle of the intersection. We are teeing it with Pemberwick Road, so it's a safer exit.
Thank you. So, right, I now remember the steepness of the wall, but any additional shoulder that as you're in the works, perhaps you can eke out another couple of inches.
We'll try our best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only question I had, there's the Glenville Beautification Committee. So have they expressed any concerns with this new proposal?
We met with them several times. Jim is very involved in their meetings, and I attend every once in a while. We've incorporated a lot of their concerns into our 90% plan set, such as the grass strip along the roadway, and part of the construction plans that we plan to go out to bid with, we have added alternates to it to allow for the handholds and foundations for the proposed pedestrian lighting that they would like to see, as well as an alternate for the pedestrian lighting, so that if the funding is available and the bids do come in well below what we're expecting, we would be able to incorporate those requests into this project. So we have been communicating with them.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Seeing no other questions, is there a motion to approve the use of the parks property for purposes of right-of-way?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Jill Oberlander, second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Jill Oberlander, yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And again, thank you for working with all the business owners there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, looks like the last item on the agenda is a first read for the Greenwich Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and we have P&Z Chair Margarita Albin with us via Zoom.
Hello there.
Good morning, Margarita. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, hello. So we won't take up much of your time. Amina as well is with me. Amina, you there? I know I saw you in the audience.
She's still here.
Okay, so we won't take up much of your time because this is your first read. The condition when the RTM did the final ordinance for the Affordable Housing Trust is that within 90 days, we have to submit a declaration of trust, which lays out the operational factors of the trust. And the declaration is drafted in line with the ordinance and mostly has the same language with some additions for more depth. Amina is gonna, so you should find it relatively consistent. If you, I think we sent you both documents, but I'm happy to send it again. And Amina has been reviewing the declaration with us, an attorney who has been involved in another declaration of trust, and she has proposed some changes. So I'm going to turn it over to her because she knows about these things.
Thank you.
And I don't get to see her face. I think that's how this works. But this is actually pretty good, except when folks walk away from the microphone. Gabriella kept going unhearable.
Okay. Well, Amina's back in front of the podium, so hopefully you could hear her.
We can see her.
Good morning again. Yes, so I had worked with Margarita on some redrafting of the trust language and also had reached out to the attorney who drafted almost an identical trust document for the city of Stamford. As you may recall, when the ordinance came before you, we had taken some of the good aspects from the Stamford ordinance and moved through with the approval process with your board and the RTM. And so what we decided to do was reach out to the attorney who drafted the declaration of trust document for the city of Stamford, because there are some potential statutory and tax issues that are involved when we start putting together a trust for the town of Greenwich. So we had reached out to him. He reviewed the document that is before you and offered some suggestions, many of which were really minor because we were really working off of a document that he had drafted. So given that background, he made some minor suggestions based on some unique aspects that were adopted as part of the ordinance by the Greenwich RTM. And we hope to bring you those, what I'll call somewhat minor modifications for your second read. But one of the other things that Margarita and I had discussed and had proposed should come out of the document that's before you is a section in here which gives the trust the authority to settle all claims. And as you all know, there's a pretty involved process here in town per town charter whenever it comes to settlement of any claims. So we didn't think that would go over well with the RTM if we gave the trust sort of a carve-out of the settlement process and allowed them to do their own thing, for lack of a better way of putting it. So that was one proposal that I had made, and when we come back to you, we hope to modify the document so that we still have the charter provisions intact when it comes to settlement of any claims. So that was one suggestion that had come out of the discussions, and we'll bring that to you during your second read. There's also a provision in here which says that all trustees shall be treated as employees of the town of Greenwich, which Stamford used that language for some reason, but again, given how Greenwich works, that might raise some red flags with the RTM because we really don't use that kind of language with any of our other boards and committees and organizations. We never say you shall be treated as employees. But really the purpose there was to make sure that the trustees are indemnified per state statute for their judgment and discretion when acting as trustees on behalf of the trust. So again, you'll see that change when this document comes back to you for a second read provision. So, happy to answer any questions. I know Margarita is really the expert here, and I'm sure she has some other comments to add.
Does it make them nervous when I say you're the expert and you say I'm the expert? May we answer any questions for you?
No, I think it's two good catches there. The last 2 points are good ones because they no doubt would run into some resistance on the RTM. So I think that's, we do things a little bit differently here in town that you stated, and not a bad thing. So I think that's good to get out ahead of it. And
Put your microphone on.
I'm sorry, to get out ahead of it. So thank you for those 2 catches, and we look forward to the second read and finalization of this. So I don't know if there's any other questions. Jill?
Hi, thank you, Jill Oberlander. Not a question, but an observation that,
Yes, ma'am.
especially as Lauren mentioned, that SNAC is starting to consider appointments. I do think that we may want to consider through the law department a briefing on fiduciary obligations of the trustees for this appointment. I do think that especially with the extensive work that hopefully this trust fund will do, that are the people that get appointed should get some additional training on expectations. So if you could sort of put that in the back of
Fantastic suggestion.
back of your mind as we go forward,
Yes.
that a higher level of we have some excellent volunteers that serve on boards that do invest for us and do other things, but this may require a little bit more training.
So just a
So-
couple of things. The fiduciary here is Pete Minarski. I'm a little,
no,
I'm
no,
not
the
an
fiduciary, he'll
attorney
be-
like you, and ominous, so I may need to be rescued, but the fiduciary control is the finance department. So there won't be any investment, but the funding of projects, what we've done, Jill, is, Madam Oberlander, is we actually approached the Board of Ethics. And we have asked the Board of Ethics if they would kind of informally, we're not asking an opinion from them, but rather to tap their extensive knowledge on how the trust process should be set up so that it is absolutely unassailable, of the highest integrity, and they know what the ramifications are. I was concerned, all the issues that always bother us, conflict of interest, ex parte communication, et cetera. And I want to make sure we set it up to be, I can't think of a better word than as white hat as possible. That's what we used to call it when someone paid me. So I'll say that now. Does that meet your concerns?
Yeah, so it's, sorry, I might have confused you when I made reference to things like the retirement board and other boards and commissions where they are
did.
actually doing investments, and I'm aware that our town controller is going to be in charge of the deposit of funds. But the trustees for this housing trust fund, as I understand it, will be making decisions about allocation and usage. And so, and if they're going to be subject to indemnification, then we should be providing those trustees with some additional training, both on potential conflicts, appearance issues, but also on sort of their fiduciary obligations and in their decision making. Is really what I meant.
Perfect. And I'm going to go back to the chair of the Board of Ethics, to Paul DeBerry, and I'm going to ask him to consider how we might do that training, because to me, the key is that this has to be, for many reasons, of the highest ethical standards and the highest fiscal responsibility towards the town. That's what's so important in this.
Great.
So I love your idea.
Thank you. Thanks, Margarita, or Chair
Thank you
Albin.
very much.
Thank you very much. That's a good suggestion. Thank you, Margaret and Amina. Seeing no other,
Yeah,
Questions?
I've had conversations, so I don't have any questions, and thanks for defining, because I know as members are being solicited, the terms, because we will have staggered terms. And I know in talking to Margarita that we were going to ethics and getting, their input as this has been defined. So great suggestion to try to incorporate some specific, repeatable training, especially as new members, might come on. So it's not like a one and done, it's continuous.
okay, well, thank you very much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, Margarita.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And thanks, the Town Attorney Barbara Schellenberg for being here, standing by. And thanks, Jenny Larkin and Barbara Hines for helping us and GCTV to get this out. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Jill Oberlander, second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Jill Oberlander, yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good afternoon.